Howdy, howdy do, Who fans. Welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 271.
Oh, yes.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect. But actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator. I could retire and do that.
I'm the doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Hey, Who fans? Hope you're all well and safe. You've had a cracking week and you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related.
Yeah.
I finished off something Doctor Who related.
Is it a book?
A book, yeah. Finish off the City of Death story, which is really good.
Oh, yeah. James Goss.
Yeah, do you know what? Some of those Target books are really cool because they're not huge novels that you feel like you have to dedicate months to read. Because sometimes with a book, because unfortunately sometimes I've got two books on the go at any one time. Could sort of flip between the two. But this one had me glued, mate. I had it polished off in a few days. It was good.
Yeah, I tell you, I love that feeling of finishing a book and then thinking, right, because me and you are the same. We just got piles of books because we love buying them, but they soon pile up, and then you're like, right, which one shall I read next, sort of thing. Yeah. And obviously with the lockdown, it's given us a chance to actually get through them. I've gone through a couple of books as well. I finished off the Eccleston book, his biography, which was good. I read Prince's biography that he started writing before he died, and that's been finished off, and I really enjoyed that. Very apt for some of the stuff that's going on at the moment, because Prince was a big advocate for Black Lives Matter, and so that was quite timely to finish that, and really enjoyed that. And I've just started reading because I was thinking, right, what should I do now? Two biographies, should probably move on to something a bit, more lighthearted, like one of the Target books. But actually, I've started John Levine's biography. It was just, I know, I was just looking along the shelf, and I thought, what haven't I read yet? It just sort of jumped out at me. It was a nice size, and I thought, he's a character. I mean, so I've started that, and it's got a lovely intro by Toby Haydock in it, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to pan out. But yes, so I've started that, which is interesting. But yeah, I love the Target books. You've probably seen I've been going through all my old ones that have been boxed up, and I've unboxed them and put them on the shelf, and I just love those Target books. The covers alone, I just sit there and I just look at them over and over again. They're beautiful. But yeah, one day I could just read them right from the beginning. I thought I had more than I did, though. It's weird. I keep thinking, is there another box somewhere? Because there are certain Target books that I'm sure I had that I haven't found yet. But then sometimes I just think it's because I know the covers, if you know what I mean. I sort of think I have it because I've seen the cover. But yeah, great. Really nice books.
Love the old Target books.
Yeah. So what are you going to read now off your big pile of books?
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure. I feel like I need to pick up a new book. I need to go Doctor Who book shopping.
Did you read At Childhood's End?
I did.
The Ace. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
What else have I read recently? It's good. The other book that I bought that I haven't read yet, which you'll like, is the C-3PO Anthony Daniels biography. I know he's not very liked in fandom, but it was so cheap in Sainsbury's and it had some nice Star Wars pictures in the middle of it. I thought, well, I'll get it. But I haven't read that yet.
Of course.
It was that or John Levine. It's a very tough choice. Two very interesting characters.
Yeah, I read the Anthony Daniels book a couple of months ago.
Any good?
Yeah, he's pretty good actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. Got some really good insights into the old Star Wars days, and
I just know I'm going to get cross when he starts talking about Kenny, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. What about Scratch Man? Have you read that?
I've not read that actually.
That there you
could
go.
Be a good
Then
one.
that's a good one. Yeah, Tom Baker.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good. Actually, he's got a new biography coming out. Supposedly the end of this year, isn't he, Tom Baker?
Yeah, October, I think. October or November. Yeah, that should be good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I hope he actually talks about Doctor Who in this one, because in his last biography called Who's Tom Baker? Who on Earth is Tom Baker? I think he barely mentioned it, even though the cover was him as the fourth Doctor.
Yeah.
I think he hardly mentioned it, but that's a long time ago I read that. I can't remember now.
Yeah. It's a bit like Davison's book, wasn't it? I think everybody was expecting a bunch Davison spilling the tea, but I think there was a few bits that were quite interesting, mainly around him, how he felt about Tom back in the day.
Yeah,
that was quite interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Davison's biography, but it was frustrating because he just starts talking about Doctor Who and then he'll just completely go off about something else. But the most frustrating thing was when he starts talking about the Five Doctors, because I was really interested to hear about his thoughts on that, because obviously he got to work with all the other doctors and stuff. And he just starts talking about it, and then he just literally 2 pages later, and he's off. He's talking about his school year, and you're like, no, tell us what went on. And but it's a good read, Davis's biography. But yeah, it's quite frustrating in a way. He really flips back and forth. I think he's trying to be a bit timey-wimey in it. And I don't remember much about Tom's. It was so long ago I read it, but I remember there wasn't a lot of Doctor Who in it. But his favourite story, the last time I met Tom, he was telling stories at his signing table, and just as we got to him, he started telling my favourite story from his book, the only one that sticks in my mind. It's just one of his little anecdotes that he tells over and over again, where he's in a lift with a woman and she's like, "You don't remember me, do you?" And he's like, "Oh, did we work together?" And then I think the punchline is something like, "No, I used to be your wife," or something. And I was recording it on my phone. I was thinking, yes, this is, I'm so glad I've got this on film, Tom telling this story. And my blimmin' phone, it's always full, cut off and didn't save it. And I was like, I was furious. I was like, I would love to have caught that moment on my camera. But yeah, I'm looking forward to his new biography anyway. That should be interesting.
Your bloody phone. For listeners who aren't aware, we have this every single convention, every single meetup. It's like, should we grab a selfie? Well, I can't yet, mate, because I need to free up some space on my phone and delete some pics every time.
Crackers.
Oh dear.
I hate iPhones. I don't know why I've got one.
Well, iPhones are good. You just need to back up your pics a bit more often to free up some space.
It's all because I had everything saved to a terabyte. I used to save it to a terabyte and then wipe off my phone. And then one day I tripped over the lead of the terabyte and it literally did a 360, went all smashed on the floor, and I lost everything. And I know it's unlikely that happen again, but it makes me so paranoid about it. I'm thinking, no, I must keep it stored on my phone in case I lose it, So it's just that paranoia. But there is some rubbish on there. Sometimes when I go through my phone, why have I got a picture of, the pavement that I've actually taken a picture of, by mistake? And
or the inside of my pocket.
Tree. Yeah.
Oh dear. First world problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be good actually, Tom. So I might give Scratchman a go then.
Yeah, you'll like that one. That is good. Yeah, it's kind of like two. Well, no, I won't say too much because I don't want to give away. But it's almost like two. It flips in the middle. It's quite interesting because it starts off quite dark and then it sort of flips into a sort of different style halfway through. And there's a good surprise in the middle. And yeah, I recommend it. I enjoyed Scratchman. It wasn't perfect, but I did really enjoy it.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Talking of going shopping and stuff, Forbidden Planet broke their radio silence the other day. I don't know if you saw.
Yes, I did. What on earth is going on with Forbidden Planet at the minute?
Yeah, so they had their site hacked and got taken down, and instead of letting everybody know, they just went dark. So I think it was about a 4 or 5 day period where people were saying, I ordered stuff from you, but your website's down and you're not on Twitter, so can I assume that you've gone under? So
yeah,
I thought, well, that's unlikely. But then as the days went on, because you mentioned it to me first, you're like, have you heard anything about FP with people not getting their stuff? And I replied, I was like, no. So I dived in. I was like, right, this is not right. Because normally Forbidden Planet, they've got their problems with their deliveries and such, from time to time, but they're generally not too bad with communicating. They're not too bad. But yeah, they just went radio silence. But fortunately, they put a notice on their website to say that their site had been hacked and taken down, all the rest of it. So I think they've got like a proper cyber security company to come in and make sure everything was good and stuff. So I think it's on the 15th of June. They're going to reopen up the website along with the same day they're opening up their shops. So that should be cool.
Yeah, I was worried about that because I must admit the silence is the worst thing, because you think, oh, if they can't even go on, because they always communicate through Twitter. If there's a problem, even on their website, it says, please visit Twitter for any updates. And there was nothing. And everyone was just speculating that they'd gone bust. Because obviously in this time, with shops being shut and struggling, shops are closing left, right and centre. So it was quite a natural thing to assume of, oh, they haven't gone bust, have they? So yeah, it was quite worrying. I think it was over a week before they actually issued this statement saying, sorry about the radio silence, but we've been hacked. And then the next concern then was, well, are our details safe? Because obviously when you go to Forbidden Planet, you don't have to put your credit card details in. You just press pay, don't you? And so they're saying your details aren't stored on their website. So it's a third party thing. But it's obviously a concern, but it's still down at the minute. But like you said, I think it's going to relaunch on the 15th. So I'm kind of relieved because you know how much I love Forbidden Planet. I would have hated for them to go. So I am kind of relieved that, not relieved that they had a cyber attack, but relieved that they're still going and that they're sorting it out.
Yes. Yep.
As someone who's not very technical, talking to someone who is very technical, though, is that a big thing? Because a lot of people are giving them a hard time. They're saying, God, come on, guys, it's been 2 weeks, but I'm guessing that's a difficult thing to get the site back up, is it? It must be, because it's been 2 weeks now.
Well, if it depends, really. I think because they mention it on the message, it's on their website currently, that they got a proper, quote unquote, proper company to come and sort it all out. So that takes time, obviously. So from that respect, it all sounds legit and all that jazz. But what's disappointing, though, is that their Twitter account is in no way linked to the website. Obviously, Twitter's an external thing, third-party thing. So they could have... It doesn't take a long time to figure out that your site's been hacked and taken down. It doesn't... that's sort of instantly a thing that you're not confused over. So they could have gone to Twitter and said, we've been hacked, whatever, we're investigating, so don't worry, we're looking into it, sort of thing. So the radio silence, like you said, it's the lack of communication that was disappointing, really. But hey ho, it's no personal details have been taken by the sound of it, so that's all good.
Yeah, I have got an order. Well, I've got loads of stuff on back order, but I did place an order about 3 days before it closed. The website went off, so I am waiting for a few bits. I've actually forgotten what I did order though. I thought I'd treat myself to something before I went back to work. I thought, I'll go on FP and get a few blind boxes and a few bits. And I just wanted something to arrive before I went back to work, something to look forward to, because I was getting quite down about having to go back to work next week. But yeah, I'm still waiting for that. So I don't think it's even been I don't think any orders are being processed at the minute. So I think that was it. People were worried that they couldn't even get into their own site because no orders are being processed at all, are they? So
no.
At the minute. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad they're still around. Hopefully they get back on their feet soon.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I'm dying to get out and do some geeky shopping. Like my wife, she's going absolutely nuts because all she wants to do, and fair play, all she wants to do is just go and have a wander around the shops, have a coffee and stuff like that. She wants to spend a bit of money because she's not had that thrill for a while. She just wants to go and, look, there's a nice top or there's a pair of shoes or something like that. And I'm like that, but not for clothes. I'm good for clothes at the minute. I just want to go and buy some comics and collectibles and rubbish to put on the shelf, basically.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm looking forward to when we can all meet up again in London and stuff and go to the TARDIS pub in Covent Garden and all that sort of stuff. But it's not. I don't think shopping's not going to be a fun experience for a while. You know, all the queuing and stuff. It's not going to be. You know, we're going to have to get used to it. Because I keep thinking this. I can't wait to go back to Forbidden Planet London. I literally cannot wait for the day when I meet you outside there. We go, let's go and have a look, see what they got. Let's go and see the Cabinet of Woe that's not there anymore. But it's not, you know, we're probably going to be queued up outside for a good hour to get in and stuff like this. It's going to take some getting used to. But
yeah, anyone that's not been to the Forbidden Planet megastore in London, it's actually very similar to a lot of other Forbidden Planets. Both types of Forbidden Planets actually we have here in the UK. Most of them are very tight in terms of walking around, especially the London megastore one. There's no way that you've got 2 meters worth of space.
Oh, no.
Around pretty much all of the shop, both upstairs and downstairs. So that's going to be a real interesting experience doing some COVID-19 style shopping there. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Website's
last time I went in there,
it
was packed as well. Absolutely packed last time I went in there.
Oh,
obviously before COVID. This is obviously,
Yeah, the last time I was in there, dude. It was absolutely rammed in there, like edging past. It's, you know, like when you see those films and cartoons where somebody's on the edge of a building and they're on like a tiny, tiny ledge and they're sort of shimmying along to stick to the wall. It's like that as you try and get round. You don't want to.
I've normally got my big backpack on as well. Look at him with his blimming backpack. Just to barge people out of the way.
Yeah. Go and exchange some sweat at Forbidden Planet, eh?
Yeah, can't wait.
Con's not that great. Right, anyway. I haven't been up to anything else, dude. I'll finish off that book. Watched the 2-part of a review today, and that's it. So, yeah.
I managed to get a bit of Hartnell in. You know, last week I said I was really wanting to watch some Hartnell. I managed to get one in. So I watched The Reign of Terror the other night, which I haven't watched in ages. I won't say too much because we haven't reviewed it. But it's there's always I love it when we get a story when I'm watching it and there's a scene pops up where I think to myself, if Gary was sat next to me now, we'd be cracking up. And there's a scene in that where the Doctor, I mean, 1 minute he's having a lovely stroll through the fields, he's having a lovely day out, and then the next minute he needs to get away from this guy, so he picks up a great big stick off the floor and wallops him over the head.
Oh, yeah.
Hartnell's Doctor is just so unpredictable. And I thought, it's the way he does it as well. He distracts him with a coin or something. He's like, yeah, look at that. And then just while he's bent over looking at it, he gets this great big blimming branch, goes, wallop. Come on, let's get out of here. And I'm thinking, wow, Hartnell's Doctor, he didn't take any bleep, did he?
No,
he really didn't. But I won't say too much because we haven't reviewed that one. All I will say is that obviously half of it's missing, so you get first 3 of the actual episodes, and then the following episodes are animated. Pretty decent animation, to be fair, but I always find it so frustrating because you sort of got half of it, and then to flick to animation, it's a bit jarring, I think, but. Better than telly snaps anyway. I struggle with telly snaps, I tell you.
Yeah, defo would prefer animation.
I'm not complaining about the animation, but yeah. Anyway, I look forward to when we get round to watching that one. But it's just, I just love Hartnell. You know, and you can forgive him because I think if that was, you know, like nowadays, if the Doctor did that, we'd be saying, oh, that was that character for the Doctor. The Doctor doesn't do that. But with Hartnell, he's the first, and so you kind of think anything goes. You know, he's laying down the sort of ground rules for the Doctor, isn't he? So anything goes with Hartnell's Doctor.
Yeah. The next story that we've got for Hartnell, which is coming up later in the year, but not till September, is the Sensorites.
Oh, the Sensorites. God, I haven't seen that for a while.
Always good day to do some Hartnell.
I've got such a big appreciation for his Doctor. I love it. Love him. We were on our Discord the other day, the Blue Box Discord, and I was saying I think I prefer Hartnell to Troughton, and there was a bit of a sort of digital gasp. I could see people like, what? I was like, well, no, I love Troughton. I love him. He's brilliant. But I just slightly edge towards Hartnell because he's so different and he's so alien, and you know, something about Hartnell I love.
Yeah, the OG.
Yeah.
The OG, yeah.
But that's it. That's all I've done. I haven't done anything else. Just, reading books.
Yeah.
Bit Hartnell. That's it. No Big Finish this week, I'm afraid. I haven't had time.
Yeah, not a bad week. There are worse ways to spend a week.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so coming up for the rest of the show, we've got no news. I think this is like a month, like 4 weeks on the bounce now or something. We've had no news, something like that.
Yeah.
It's tumbleweed.
The fan being furloughed.
The fan, yeah. Tumbleweed situation as always. And then we got a couple of bits of merch. Some good news for Big Finish back orders and some vinyl stuff. Then we're on to our review of the 11th Doctor two-parter from Series 6. The Probable Astronaut and something about the moon. But until we get to that stuff, remember to subscribe to the show on whatever podcast app you listen to your podcasts on. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box Podcast. You'll find us on there somewhere. Or head over to the website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can find links to all those things there. Plus, you can listen to all of the previous eps. And there are a link off to the socials too. We're on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Go and follow us on there and chat plenty of Doctor Who. On the website, there's also a link to our free Discord server. Come and hang out and chat Doctor Who with lots of other cool, like-minded Doctor Who fans, which is all fun. And games. And remember to check out my co-host channel over on his YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag.
The Geek's Handbag, yes. Go and have a look at all my vids. I've spent hours editing together before they got lost on the terabyte. No, actually, I've still got them somewhere. But yeah, go and have a look at my vids.
Go and have a gander.
Yeah.
Yes. And then connect with Adam as well on the socials under the same name, The Geek's Handbag.
That's it.
Cool,
and I do pop into the Discord now. Now I've reset my password and got back into it. I'm on the Blue Box Discord.
Yes, there was cheers and confetti the other day when you popped in.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always forget my password. Terrible.
It's probably on the hard drive that you smashed. You had like a list of all your passwords.
Yeah. Blimmin' hard drive, the blimmin' terabyte. Terrible terabyte.
Indeedy. Right, shall we crack on and talk about some merch?
Alrighty.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
Well, there you are, young man. What do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet.
I know, it's on the telly. It's everywhere.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
I work in a shop now. It'd help.
Just gets in your head, that one.
It does. Big Finish. The warehouse is going to reopen, dude. Actually, by the time you listen to this podcast, it will be open. So a couple of days ago, on Monday, the 8th of June, the staff at Big Finish started returning back to the warehouse to start clearing the backlog and get the physical stuff out to people that had ordered stuff back from, I think it was March.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they had to close the warehouse for obvious reasons. So they did say that they're going to recommence shipping of all the collector's edition CDs and box sets and all that stuff that the backlog has built up since then. And they're going to be doing split shifts, which is good. So they've taken steps to ensure that the warehouse workers and everybody, they've all got the safety equipment and they're doing regular deep cleans and all that stuff to make sure that everything is as it should be in these times, which is cool. So the chairman for Big Finish, Jason Hay-Ellery, went on to say that our listeners have been extremely patient over the past 3 months while our warehouse staff have been furloughed. And as we have operated a digital-first release schedule, I'd like to thank all of our customers for their understanding during this time. We really couldn't have done it without you. Now that we are now delighted to be in a position to begin shipping physical products for all orders we have taken since the 24th of March. The team has put procedures in place to ensure the continued safety of the staff. However, we naturally have a lot of pending orders to get through, and the warehouse is not yet back to full capacity, so we ask that customers continue to bear with us as we start to clear the backlog. To make it fair for everyone, outstanding orders for collector's edition CDs and box sets will be fulfilled on a per month basis. So orders placed in April will be batched up and mailed out first, followed by those in May and June. Please note that we are still awaiting delivery of some stock from our pressing plants, and we cannot guarantee the status of local mail or postal services. We expect there to be continued delays, particularly for overseas customers. So in a nutshell, they're back to work in the best way that they can to keep everybody safe, and they're going to work through the backlog. So you are going to get your stuff. It just might take a little bit longer than it would normally do. But good news, though. Good news, because although the digital first release stuff was great for people like me that don't order the physical stuff from Big Finish anymore and all that stuff, people like yourself and all of our other listeners who do love the physical stuff still, not to worry. It will be on its way. So good news from Big Finish.
Yeah, so I'm it's great. I mean, that's the thing with a lot of businesses, they'll have such a backlog, and I bet in a way, a bit like myself, although I'm dreading going back to work next week, I'm kind of looking forward to just clearing the backlog and getting back to square one, and I'm sure they're the same. And I've got a few things. I always buy the physical, as you know. I've got a few things waiting to come from them, like Susan's War and a few other bits I ordered, the Fourth Doctor story. So I'm looking forward to getting them in the post. The great thing about Big Finish is that they do give you the download whenever you buy anything from their website. So it's been great, really, because although the actual physical thing is going to take a while to get to me, you can, as soon as it's released, I can listen to it. So it's good, really, because it means I've got a little treat on the way, if you like. So I've already got it, but the physical thing will be coming to me soon. So yeah, it's great news. I'm very pleased that they're starting to get back into the swing of things, because I still like the physical CD.
The shelf gobblers.
They are a bit, actually. I mean, it won't surprise you to hear that I am massively running out of space. But yeah, so I'm a bit more selective, actually, now, which CDs I do get from Big Finish. I mean, I'd love to get the tortured ones, but again, it's just the room and the money and stuff. But yeah, anyway, great news that they're back in the swing. Right, in other news, released this week, a beautiful vinyl from those guys. Is it Damon or how do you say it? Music.
Damon Music, I think.
Damon Music. Those guys just love the covers on these. So the Underwater Menace vinyl, which come up for pre-order a few weeks back, has been released this week. It comes on 240-gram volcanic eruption style vinyls. They look great. Again, I can never remember who does the artwork on these. I think it's a company rather than a person, but beautiful artwork on these. I know a few people who got theirs. It was officially released on the Monday just gone. I'm still waiting for mine. Mine should be arriving any day now, hopefully. Just hope it arrives in good condition. I've seen a few people tweet pics of theirs that have arrived a bit damaged, which is a shame, because they're so nice, these vinyls. I've got the previous ones. I've got Dalek Master Plan and the Zarbi one and stuff. They're really, really nice. And this one's a bit thinner, priced a bit more reasonably, because it's only 2 vinyls, whereas the other ones have been quite big, chunky box sets. So I think this one's around about $24.99 to $26.99. You can get it around about that sort of price. It's a bit more reasonably priced, this one, but it looks good, doesn't it? So this is obviously a second Doctor story. Half of it is missing. Anyone who's got the DVD will tell you have to watch the rest of it in dreadful quality telly snaps that the BBC insisted on. There's a whole story behind that. Go and have a look at it. The BBC just had no interest in this release when it came out on DVD. So it's not the easiest story to watch, but I'd imagine listening to it might be a more pleasurable experience, because it's narrated by Annika Wills. And and obviously Second Doctor on audio is always good fun. So it's out now. If you haven't got it pre-ordered already and you fancy it, go and grab it. They're normally quite limited, these things. They normally do 2 different versions as well, don't they? They normally do like a standard and an Amazon exclusive. And I'm quite pleased this time they've just done the volcanic eruption and that's it. There's no sort of, which one should I get or whatever, or, have I got to order it from Amazon? No, you can get this from Amazon, hmv.com. I think Zoom had it. So there's a few places you can get this one.
Yes. Yeah, it's out of stock at most places at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah. So Amazon are out of stock, but they're getting more in on the 14th of June, apparently.
Oh, okay.
And over on zoom.co.uk, they're completely sold out. So, you won't be able to get it from those guys. But there's more stock coming, apparently. But these are very cool, though. And it disappoints me that I didn't jump on the whole vinyl train early on, because the artwork is all done, whoever they've got to do it, is all done by the same person. And it all matches really nicely. So Galaxy 4, what's the other one? Destiny of the Daleks and the Web Planet. The artwork's all done by the same person or company.
Yeah.
But they all match, and it all looks really nice, and it's very cool. So, yeah, I think they're available still as well. I think that Amazon have got a good deal actually over on their website. When you go onto the page for the Underwater Menace, I'll put a link in the show notes to it. Underneath, Amazon always do this frequently bought together bundles. And for 100 quid, 99 quid, you can get this with Galaxy 4 and the Web Planet, which is cool. And the Web Planet is the exclusive edition as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But trust me, I gotta say that they are really, really good. When they're one of those things that when these arrive in the post and you open them up and they just look so good. They are out of stock in a few places. I've just had a look. HMV.com have still showing it as in stock. So, and it's $24.99 from them, which isn't too bad. So, if you want to grab it, grab one.
Yeah, same as Amazon, 25 squids.
Yeah,
cool beans.
Introducing the fish people, it says on the front. Great.
The fish people.
They're quite iconic, aren't they? Just the image on the front, it looks very retro and iconic. I love it.
Yeah, It's good.
That's it. Yeah.
There we go. So, Birch, Big Finish warehouse is open. You're going to get your stuff, and a swanky new volcanic eruption vinyl for the Underwater Menace. Very cool. Right, review time, bud.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Gosh, Series 6. Series 6. What do we think? We struggle a bit with Series 6, don't we? But I think it's interesting to do this two-parter. So this Series 6 kicked off with the Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon.
Whatever happens now, you do not interfere. Clear?
I've been running the fastest I've ever run, and I've been running my whole life. Now it's time for me to stop.
We've been recruited. Something to do with space, 1969. And a man called Canton Everett, Delaware, III.
Every day, wherever I am, I get a phone call.
People can't just call you, Mr. President.
Every day for the last 2 weeks.
I'm scared, Mr. President. I'm scared of spaceman.
What the hell is that?
It's non-terrestrial, definitely alien.
President, please help! Please help me!
I'm sending my best people.
We are not fighting an alien invasion. We're leading a revolution. And today the battle begins.
You just saw an image of one of the creatures we're fighting. Describe it.
I can't. They are everywhere.
We saw hundreds of those things. We still don't know what they look like.
It's like they edit themselves out of your memory as soon as you look away. The exact second you're not looking at them, you can't remember anything.
How long have they been here?
As long as there's been something in the corner of your eye, or creaking in your house, or breathing under your bed, or voices through a wall.
This world is ours.
Who and what are you?
Silence, Doctor. We are the Silence.
This isn't an alien invasion. They live here. This is an empire.
America is occupied.
And silence will fall.
Crikey Moses.
What a trailer.
What a trailer indeed. Yeah. Right then, The Impossible Astronaut. That first went out on the 23rd of April, 2011. It was written by The Mothball, directed by Toby Haynes. And then Day of the Moon, also written by The Mothball. That went out on the 30th of April, directed by Toby Haynes. Starring at this time, the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, with Amy Rory, and River pops up in this one. And the storyline is that they've been summoned by the Doctor, which takes them to Utah. And the Doctor gets killed in front of them and then starts like a full-on what the bloody hell's happening here kind of storyline, where they're, along with them trying to figure out what's happening with the Doctor, and due to River's instruction about, we can't tell him about his supposed death and all the rest of it, they're trying to figure that out. And then on the way, they have to sort of uncover what's happening with this strange space girl, little girl, contacting the president of America at the time, Nixon, and he summons Canton, very long name, Canton Everett Delaware III, to have a look at it, and they kind of get nowhere really. And then when we get onto Day of the Moon, we see that Canton is pursuing Amy and Rory and the Doctor across the whole world while the Doctor's been locked up, and we think what the bloody hell's going on here? But it turns out it's a bit of a ruse. He just wanted to get them all into the impenetrable prison so that they could jump in the TARDIS and go off and find out what's going on about the Silence, which is like the main monster in this, and also for Series 6, to be honest with you. They were mentioned, they were references to them back in Series 5, but now we full on see what's going on with those guys. And then also, once they solve and find out what's going on with the Silence, they then have to try and figure out what's going on with the little girl in the spacesuit, which I think we find out later on in Series 6. That gets revealed, who that is and whatnot. So, two-parter, dudes, to kick off Series 6. What are you saying on this one?
Yeah. Series 6 is not a series I go back to very often, and it's quite possible, when I was watching this again last night, I don't even know if I've watched this two-parter since it aired. If I have, it was possibly only once, since it's not one I've seen very often. So if you'd asked me before I watched it, what do I remember about this two-parter, I would say I was confused the first time I watched it. Even by the end of it, I didn't really know what had happened. I remember it being quite messy, quite hard to follow. But there are certain visuals from this that, even though I've only seen it once, possibly twice, there are certain visuals that just stay in my mind very vividly. There are things from this two-parter that really stay with you, I think, right from the get-go. So watching this again last night, I didn't go into it expecting a lot. If anything, I was just hoping I might understand the story more watching it again. And I certainly did understand it a little bit more. I do think it's quite a confusing story in terms of the way it's told. Very typical Stephen Moffat, but he's really trying to be... he's really going for it in this. I mean, it's grand in scale. It looks fantastic production-wise. It's, just visually brilliant. And I actually really enjoyed it this time. I think the first time I watched it, I was just so confused by it all that it just didn't really grab me at all. It's not one I've sort of been wanting to particularly revisit. But I really enjoyed it. It is confusing. I still think it feels a little unrewarding, I think, in many ways, because it throws out so many questions, even in the first 5 minutes. It's I get sitting there just imagine Moffat writing this, and I've got a bit of a soft spot for Moffat. I really have. I really do like Stephen Moffat. I just despite all his flaws, he's really goes for it, really. Do you know what I mean? He just goes for it, right or wrong. And I just get thinking, where is he going with this? Like, what is going on in his mind while he's writing all these scenes? And there is so many questions in this two-parter. And I think that my only real problem with it is that you sit through 2 45-minute episodes, and by the end of it, you don't get an awful lot of answers. So you sort of expect by the end of part 2 that you might, been thrown a few more breadcrumbs, I think. And actually what you get in part 2 is even more questions. Like, when Amy goes into the room and she's looking at the photographs, and there's one of her with a baby, and Madam whatever her name is appearing in the doorway, and so I'm thinking, blimey heck, we've already got a load of unanswered questions. Now part 2 we're getting even more, and you don't get a lot of answers by the end of part 2. And although I enjoyed watching them both, I found that a little annoying, really. It doesn't feel very rewarding in that sense, because you have to wait really right to the end of Series 6 and on to sort of get a complete picture. And in many ways, I like that because I love the fact that Moffat's got this grand plan and he sat down. He thought, right, this is what I want to do. But I don't know. I think it throws a lot at you, and you don't get a lot back after the 2 parts. So I find that a bit frustrating, but I did enjoy it. I did think it was a very good watch. I thought the cast were brilliant in it. Even River. I mean, I'm not River's biggest fan. I don't hate her. I don't love her. I just find her a bit inconsistent. I do quite like her, really, but I find she can be a bit annoying at times. But I thought she was great in this. Really, really liked River in this. I mean, she absolutely kicks ass in that end scene where she's shooting them all. I thought she was really good in it, and I think she works well with Smith. So, yeah, I found it an enjoyable watch. Still a confusing watch, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was a good, very interesting starter to Series 6. Will have confused the hell out of the casual viewer, though. I mean, I think this is perhaps the point where Moffat started to lose people a bit, to be honest with you, like the casual viewer, because it's certainly not a standalone story, is it? Even after 2 parts, it's not one that you could just say to your mate, you know what, Dr. Who, I'll come and watch this, you'll love this, because they'll be sat there going, what the blimmin' heck's going on? So I think this might be the point where maybe some people drifted off a little bit in terms of the casual viewer, but I suppose rewarding for the long time viewer. Yeah. So it is getting a thumbs up from me, mate. Yeah, it is getting a thumbs up. Just a bit of a bewildered thumbs up. Just a typical Moffat, what's going on?
Yeah, I'll read you.
Yeah. What do you think? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, Series 6, eh? Series 6.
Series 6. Strange one.
Yeah. No, I agree with pretty much everything you said, dude. I think, I think it's a great watch. Don't get me wrong. It's this was when they were really pushing the whole, let's make story stuff aside. This was the whole, right, let's make Doctor Who just look amazing. And it really did look. When we get into Series 6, they started to really up the cinematography and locations and stuff. And yeah, it was really, really cool from that respect, and really enjoyable, like in terms of just sitting down and watching an episode or 2 episodes of Doctor Who. Really, really good. And you and I have mentioned on here and also on socials and stuff over the last year, I suppose, that every single time we watch a Matt Smith story, he just increasingly goes higher and higher and higher up the list of.
I love him, mate. I love Smith as the Doctor.
Yeah, he's just unbelievable sometimes, and So from that respect, it was great. It was really cool. And Amy's a little bit better from in Series 6. She got a bit weird, slightly unlikable at times throughout as we got to the end of Series 5. But they did not so much of a reset, but her attitude just seems different from these ones onwards, and a bit more likable. And Rory's just Rory.
I love Rory.
Yeah. So from that respect, it was great. The only thing, I think I've got the same gripes as you, really, in terms of the Moff. I mean, this is really where the Moff cranks up the whole. I don't want to do just single isolated stories. I want the storyline to just branch across all of Series 6. So you've got to be in it for the long game. And what was more frustrating about that than anything is that this was the series where they did that mid-series break.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
That's right.
So
yes.
Yeah, so we got to the end of whatever it was, and then it was off TV, wasn't it, for about 3 months, I think it was.
I can't remember,
Something
but
like
yes, they definitely had a break in the middle.
3 or 4 months, and you had to. We weren't going to get the next one until later on in the year. So along with this whole, well, what the hell's going on with these questions that are unanswered when you get to the end of these episodes, because you had this big arc that was there. You thought, that's okay, as we roll through, we'll get these answers, but then they just stopped it halfway through, and you're like, crikey, now we've got to wait until however long. So that was frustrating. So in one way, I've got a lot of respect for the Moff, because in his mind, he's just like, well, I've got this, like you said, this grand master plan that's in my head, and that really started with right back in the 11th hour, the very first episode of Matt Smith. Remember Prisoner Zero? He said to the Doctor back then that silence will fall.
Yeah, well, I'd forgotten until we got the flashback scenes in this. I'd forgotten that, to be honest. Yeah.
And then a few episodes back in the Pandora Opens, we heard it again, silence will fall. So right back when he took over, writing for Doctor Who, he had this plan about the silence in his head. and drop little nuggets of it right back then. So in that way, you think, crikey, this is amazing. Like this big interconnected story arc that was in his head that he's teased a little bit and nobody knew at all what he was going on about. So back in the 11th hour, because everybody was so hyped up for a new Doctor and we were so focused on how brilliant Matt Smith was for his first episode, you didn't really pay attention to someone saying silence will fall. You just didn't link it to anything.
Yeah, but it seemed like a throwaway line.
Yeah, almost, yeah. But in the Moff's head, he's thinking, you'll see. You'll see. And then we get to series 6 and then, like I said, he really cranks up the whole, I want to do a big arc. So I respect him for that. But at the same time, I remember when I first watched through series 6, I did think at various times, like, this is just too heavy. Like I think the way that we phrased it in the past is that sometimes series 6 just buckles under its own weight, like the pressure of everything. Once you get through it, it's a relief to get through it. When you get to the end of series 6, you think, thank God for that. Even then, there is still stuff that's unanswered. There's a couple of things, but at least you think, like, right, I know who the little girl was in the spacesuit, and I know what happened with the Doctor being killed on the beach. Now, I guess we have a decision to make, dude. We're assuming that the vast majority of our listeners have seen series 6.
Yeah.
But just in case you haven't, if you're a newbie that's jumped on, in case you haven't, a couple of spoilers coming up for what happens in series 6, so just be aware. So we find out at the end that it wasn't the Doctor that was killed on the beach by the girl in the spacesuit. It was the android robot version, the Tesselector version of the So at the time, like you said, if you're a casual viewer and you've just dropped into Doctor Who, like, dude, you should watch Doctor Who. It's starting again. It's a new series. You'll love it. All right, cool. And at the end of it, you're just sending a text to your mate like, what have you done to me? I've now got like brain freeze. I don't know what's going on. So for the casual viewer, and if you're a newbie to Doctor Who, this is the first time you've watched it, you're screwed. You are completely screwed. Not just in a little bit, like in some episodes, if you're a casual viewer, you're like, okay, I got most of it. There was a couple of lines that the Doctor dropped in that I assume is a reference to something else that I don't get yet. But for the most part, I got it. These two-parters, you got no hope. You've got no hope, mate.
I remember the first time I watched this, or maybe the only time, I can't remember. I was staying with my aunt and uncle down in Cornwall. Me and partner had gone down to have a little few days away, and they were like, yeah, come and stay with us. We've got a spare room, so it was lovely. And I remember saying, oh, I hope you don't mind, but I would like to watch Doctor Who. They know I'm a big fan. They're like, oh no, that's still on, is it? And I remember them sitting there and just being absolute. Well, it was only for the first part. I think I don't remember watching the second part with them, but I just remember, looking at them thinking, oh my God, this is, you feel awkward where sometimes when you're watching with someone else, don't you? Like, there are some episodes where you just think, no, I need to be on my own to just take this in. You don't want that sort of awkwardness for someone asking questions all the way through. And I kept thinking, oh, it's such a shame that we're not on episode 3, because we were literally 5 minutes. Their house was 5 minutes from where they filmed the Curse of the Black Spot, the boat that they used in that. And I remember my uncle saying, oh, I'll take you down there later. I'll show you. Because I obviously, with the internet, we'd already seen pictures of what was coming up. So I knew that it had been filmed there and stuff. So I went and got a load of pictures of that boat. Obviously, if I'd known how bad the episode was going to be, I probably wouldn't have bothered. But being sat there with my aunt and uncle, they weren't bothered because they're not Doctor Who fans really. But it is that awkwardness of like, they're sat there thinking, what on earth is this? There's probably some episodes, maybe from the Tennant era where they had watched it and said, oh, that was quite good. But I think we just switched off and didn't talk about it for the rest of the day. And maybe that's why in my head I haven't really gone back to it, because I think when you sort of watch the episode and it doesn't click or whatever, you don't really gravitate towards going back to rewatch it. But I think that's why it was good this time. I watched it on my own and just watched both parts back to back and really got absorbed in the story. And I tried very hard to follow what was going on this time, because it is a bit all over the place, I think, in terms of the story.
Yes,
but not one for the casual viewer, this one, I don't think.
Yeah, it is. I think for the most part, I mean, series 6 overall, there are some good standalone stories that you don't necessarily need to know what's going on. So the next one across, so The Curse of the Black Spot, the space pirates.
Yeah.
That's an isolated one. And then The Doctor's Wife, to a degree. The Rebel Flesh ones. Night Terrors.
That's what I mean. If we'd have been watching The Curse of the Black Spot, it would have been perfect because, they would have said, oh, that's the boat art. Yeah, I know that, where they filmed that. And they would have, the story was fairly easy to follow from what I remember. It just wasn't very good. Yeah. But that's what I mean. That sort of story you could just plonk on and somebody could probably follow that easy enough. But not so much this one. But again, when I'm on my own, I don't mind that. I kind of like that. It's kind of is rewarding because you sort of, it's the script is sharp enough to keep you involved, even though it's complicated. I found myself making note of, there was some really good humor in it. The Moffat's great at writing humor a lot of the time. I did slightly worry at the beginning as well, because the Moffat, he sometimes goes a little bit kinky.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that's the right word, but there are sometimes when I just worry that he's going to cross the line. He never does, but he sometimes gets a bit close to it. And I was slightly worried in the first sort of few minutes where the Doctor's hiding up that woman's skirt, and I was thinking, oh, Moffat, control yourself.
Here we go.
There's a couple of bits like that.
Yeah. No, I read you there's a bit where River's going down into the sewer to look at stuff.
That's it.
She's
what
like,
did she say?
I'm quite the screamer or something.
Yes, I'm quite the screamer. She gives a real sort of saucy look, and the Doctor's, Yeah, there's a couple of moments where I could see I could just imagine the Moffat writing it and just chuckling to himself in his little dirty laugh. But I think there's only a couple of moments like that. But
it's the wine.
It's right at the start of it, and I thought, I'd forgotten that there's this side of Moffat that,
it's the
can
wine,
be a bit naughty
for sure.
Yeah,
all the bits that are like spacey and time travel-y and all that lot, that's when he's completely sober. 10 o'clock in the morning, he's at his desk. All the saucy bits are on his notepad at 11 o'clock at night with a bottle of, like 2 bottles down.
Yeah, wine stain around the page.
Yeah.
But when he gets it right, I mean, his dialogue is pretty sharp, and I tell you, when he hits the humour right, I think he's great at writing, and also he's good at emotion sometimes. There's quite a heartbreaking scene where Rory is listening to Amy and he doesn't know whether she's talking about the Doctor or him. I found that quite sad. I was thinking, oh no, it sounds like Rory's just overheard her say she, really loves the Doctor, but it turns out, he's got it all wrong.
They knew that he was listening, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple of really nice emotional scenes like that. So when the Moffat gets the writing right, he's bang on, I think, and it is quite a sharp script. In amongst all the confusion, there's some great dialogue between the characters, some really fun dialogue as well, some lovely moments. I particularly like the scene where the Doctor's saying, I'm just going to make the TARDIS invisible, and he presses the wrong thing, and River goes, I'll just do that for you. And I thought that was a really nice moment. All those scenes of her actually, doing all the stuff and him not having a clue, I thought worked very well. I think the cast worked brilliantly together in this. I really do. As I said, I'm not River's biggest fan, but I do like her. But I think she's great in it. I think she really bounces off Matt quite well, I think.
She does, actually, yeah. Yeah. Because I think the River's a funny one. Because
she is, yeah. Sometimes she annoys me, and other times I really like her.
Exactly that, yeah. Sometimes she's written, and she's very, very cocky and forward and stuff, and that's all fine, but sometimes it's just a bit much. It's like, okay. So I'm glad that we've had River in small doses, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I did like that end scene when she was really kicking off, and but she turns and says, because again, at this point, we don't know who River is. So there's another mystery. The Doctor asks her a few times, why doesn't she just say? So you got that mystery. Who are you? Why? How does she know the Doctor and the Doctor doesn't know her? And they delve into it a bit more by saying they're going in and meeting in opposite directions, which is a great idea.
Yeah.
But does my head in, makes my brain hurt a little bit when I think about that too much, because I'm not sure how that actually works. But it's a fantastic idea. But I remember thinking at the time we might have got the answer, because when she kills all the silence, she says, "Oh, good job, my old fella didn't see that," or something.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, so hang on, is she telling us she's the Doctor's wife
or something?
Yeah. So there was that little thing. Of course, we know now that's, hang on, well, we don't. We still don't know. I don't know. I don't want to delve too much into that. But again, there's another little breadcrumb for the viewer, which may or not be true, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, there was that bit at the end. I mean, this goes back to, so Alex Kingston plays this really well in this two-parter. I think she plays River really well because...
I think so, yeah.
Because when River's just full on kind of innuendos and one-liners and stuff, it does get a bit much after a while. Even though she's playing it very well. In this one, though, we see like the other end of the scale as well. Like there's a couple of scenes where she's really... You can tell that she knows what's coming because of that storyline you mentioned with them going opposite directions. She knows exactly what's down the road. And you can see that kills her. That really tears her apart because there's a couple of times where she's talking to, I think it's either Amy or I think it's Rory.
Rory, yeah.
And she does allude to that. And then there's right at the end when she plants a big old snog on the Doctor when she goes back to prison. And he doesn't know why she's kissed him. He's just like, oh, okay, that was, he's just bewildered by it. And she's gutted because she's like, why did you act that way? Like all the times we've done that before, which then alludes a bit more to the fact that, okay, so they were a couple, obviously, at some point. And it kills her. You can see that it just it breaks her heart when he looks at her in a way that's like a stranger looks at somebody or you've only just met or something.
Yeah.
So the way she plays that, though, is really, really good.
I think she balanced the humour and the action stuff pretty well. And as I said, I think she works well with Matt's Doctor. There's quite a lot of scenes in this I really liked. I think that's the other thing, even though at times I wasn't 100% understanding what was going on. There's lots of scenes I liked in it. I love the bit where Matt, very early on, he's being quite jovial in the TARDIS and he's like, right, I'm going to drop you off. And then he just sits down and he suddenly flips to really serious in the blink of an eye. They're like, right, what is going on? And he talks to them individually, but the way that Matt acts that scene is done so well. The way because it shows that his doctor very often portrays this persona of being happy all the time, and then he just cuts out all the BS and it's like, right, let's get down to them, what's going on. And I think Matt's really good at that. Tennant was good at it as well. I think he often sort of showed that there was a lot of sadness underneath all his bravado and stuff. But there was scenes like that with Matt, which I just thought, brilliant. He's brilliant. I mean, I could gush on for hours about how much I love Matt as the Doctor. And he's superb in the story. He handles the action well, does the humour brilliantly. He's really good at the sort of emotional moments as well. The awkwardness with River, like you said, with the kiss and stuff. He's a great Doctor. This is the sort of story that's made for him, isn't he? When he's in the Oval Office, he's like, right, I want this, that, and 20 jammy Dodgers right now. And you can just see he's having the time of his life.
He is. Yeah, that's such a great scene as well when he first arrives in the office and he's creeping around. They don't know he's there and he's quietly getting his notepad out. And
oh, I love it. All
that stuff's great. And like you said, it's perfect for him. So that's another thing that was good about Moff was he knew how to write for Matt Smith.
Yes, I think he did.
Definitely, because there are just certain scenes where he's, like you said, he's having the time of his life. He's read the script and he's like, this is amazing. I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. And then he just, like we said many times, even from the 11th hour onwards, he's just like exploded onto the screen as the Doctor with no warm-up, nothing. He's just been his version of the Doctor from day one. So when you get to stories like this where we've already gone through the whole character building and we know what's going on with the companions and not so much him finding his feet, but he's really kind of settled into the range of it all. So he's not OTT with the comedy and stuff, but he also does the sad bits and the angry bits really well. And the little bits as well that relieve from what's going on are really nice between him and River. So there's bits where he's doing stuff and she's like, I really hate him sometimes. And he's like,
I love that. Yeah.
He's like, no, you don't.
He really winds her up. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell that everybody's on form, if you like, because the script is so good. And that's one thing, or however much we've bashed them off over the years. Like you said, when he gets it right, when he gets those character interactions right and the script is sharp, it's moments like those are brilliant.
You're right. He does know how to write Matt's Doctor very well, and Matt knows how to they work as a very good team. I think Matt Smith and Stephen Moffat. He writes him well, and Matt performs the humor and stuff very, very well. What was it? Yeah, that scene where he's like, "You're the legs, the nose, and Mrs. Robinson," and River's like, "Oh, I'm gonna, why I order," little moments like that, just delivered brilliantly. But yeah, the script is pretty sharp, I have to say, from Moffat in terms of the dialogue. Is really whips along, and it's got humor in the right places. It's quite scary in places. There are a couple of scenes in this where I was thinking, well, if I was a kid right now, I'd be pretty scared, to be honest. There's some really creepy moments in this. And it's weird because they're all about atmosphere as well. It's not like you're seeing anything particularly gruesome. It's not horror or gore. It's suspense. There's some really suspenseful horror moments in this, which I think are done really, really well.
They are.
The silence are a great invention, aren't they, by the Moth? They're a really great monster, I suppose, if you want to call them that. They look good. They're scary as hell. The whole sucking in of and that whole thing is just weird, but it's scary. I think they're a really good invention, the silence. I just can't remember how See, I've got a feeling that this is the problem. A lot of the stuff that I love that's set up, I have a feeling it just gets tarnished later on. I have a feeling that the wrap up with the Tesseract, or whatever they're called, is a bit rubbish from what I remember. The silence, don't they turn out to be just a bit nothing? This is the thing. I think when I go back and watch the series, all the bits I love kind of get ruined later on from memory. It's so long since I've really watched these. I could be wrong, but the silence just turn out to be like some Guardians or something rubbish?
Well, they were a church, weren't they? They were religious.
Oh,
group.
right, yeah.
Yeah. They were set up by the two. So who's the woman with the eye patch?
Not Tasha Lamb, is it? Oh no, the one with the eye patch. Yeah.
Her. Is it Madame Kavarian? Yeah.
Yeah.
So her and Tasha Lem, those two set up the it's just called the church. The church forces, because the Tasha Lem, she's something to do with the mainframe, the Papal mainframe, something like that, and it all links into what happens to the Doctor, or what was going to happen to the Doctor on Trenzalore, and it was all about that thing around. Remember, the Moth wrote in this little side story around. It's always just called the question, or the first question. Like the oldest question in the universe, which links to. If the Doctor reveals or answers that question, then that also links into this, which is like if the Doctor answers the oldest question in the universe that must never be answered, then silence would fall and all that stuff. So it all links into that, which is kind of genius in a way, because the Moth's creating this whole other world of stuff that's happening and going on. But
I noticed that he started to set up this whole Doctor Who thing. Isn't he? I've noticed that there was a couple of points in this two-parter where it's actually said, isn't it? Doctor who is he, and all this sort of thing. So he started to already lay, that the foundations down for that story arc, which kind of goes a bit nowhere. I remember at the time we were all really worried that the Moffat was gonna reveal the Doctor's name and take away the mystery and all that, weren't we? I remember that was a big thing at the time. Which thankfully he doesn't, thank goodness. That's the sort of thing Chibnall might do. Actually, I've got to bring it up.
Here we go.
And I don't want to get too much into this, but I just need to know your opinion on it, because we talked about it last week. I hate to keep going back to it, but it's got to be asked. The timeless child thing. So in this, the Doctor's shot in mid-regeneration, so he can't regenerate. He's dead because he's been shot midway through regeneration. Now, how does this play into the timeless child thing? Because I thought that she could be killed over and over again.
Well, it doesn't, because that's not really the Doctor.
So it's not really the Doctor. So the Tesseract, why is the Tesseract regenerating then?
Well, I'm not sure on. Well, that's a little bit of a.
I come to you for all the important answers.
Well, that's a big question actually, because do you remember the episode later on where is it Let's Kill Hitler?
Yes.
Yeah, where there's like a whole team of people that are like controlling these android bodies and stuff. I think they call it.
Is it?
You know which one I mean.
I know the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Let's Go Hitler. I haven't watched that for years.
Yeah. So
it could be that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Doctor is in the Doctor that we see at the beginning of this episode and the one that gets shot on the beach.
He's inside it.
Well, he's not inside it. He's just, it's just an android, basically a robot.
Yeah, I thought it. I'll have to watch it again. I thought it zoomed into the eye and he was inside the little computer or something. I don't know.
Oh, he might have been. Yeah,
I can't remember. Is that the wedding of Riversong? Is that where we get the reveal to this?
Yes, it is. Yeah, right at the end. Yeah.
See, now I definitely have only ever watched that once. Now I really must go back and rewatch it, but I've only watched that when it went out. So my memories of sort of like how this all ties up are really vague.
Yeah.
We haven't reviewed it, have we?
Not yet. Nope.
No, so we've got that to come. That, and I'll tell you another story I've only ever watched once, which is quite a biggie, and I've been looking forward to reviewing it, is Matt's last one. Is it The Time of the Doctor?
Yes, The Time, yeah.
Yeah, I've only watched that once and I was absolutely smashed. It was on Christmas Day and I hated it so much I've never gone back to it. But I was so drunk that I really need to give that another go. That I was literally, I've never gone back to watch that.
I think if you're drunk, I think these stories can make a bit more sense, if I'm being honest.
I just remember sitting there going, why is going? I had to, it's like one of those things. I got in Christmas Day, I'd had quite a lot of drinks, I'd been around my folks, and I was like, I need to watch Doctor Who now. Oh, it's 11:30. No, I've got to watch it. I'm not waiting till tomorrow and putting it on and just sitting there going, what's going on? And Wooden Cyberman, why is he in it? Like, why is he talking through the wall? And so, yeah, it's amazing how I can remember so much considering how drunk I would have been. But I've never gone back to rewatch it because I just remember not enjoying it. But yeah, that's going to throw up some interesting questions as well.
Yeah. Well, it all branches off into other stuff as well. So fast forward in time when we get to, is it the Day of the Doctor? No. What's the one where the Time Lords are they come through the crack in the wall? Is it that one? No, sorry. It's when the Time Lords get put into a pocket universe at the end of the Time War.
Yeah.
That's Day of the Doctor, isn't it? Where they freeze it in this like little pocket. Yeah. So it links back to this, doesn't it? So the question that the whole Series 6 and everything sets up that connects with the silence is like is actually the answer to the question is actually a code word that would allow the Time Lords to come back from the pocket universe that they set up at the end of the Time War in the Day of the Doctor.
I don't know how the Moffat sleeps at night. His brain must be just absolutely. How does he keep all these strands in his head? I just don't know how he does it.
Yeah, yeah, it's nuts.
Must just be lying there thinking, "All right, yeah, I know what I'm going to do now."
That's what I mean. If you've had a few beers,
it's fine.
Yeah. So, what did you think to So obviously the silence are very cool. They look scary.
Yeah, they do look good. I've only ever had one problem with the silence though, because I think they look fantastic. Love the suit. It kind of looks wet, and I don't know. The look of them is brilliant. My only problem is the fingers always look so rubbery. Don't they? They're too long. They should have made them a bit thicker rubber or something, because they always look very rubbery, the fingers. But yeah, they do look brilliant. I love the design of the silence.
Yeah. Do you know the only time I actually noticed that really is when at the end when River does that really cool when she shoots them all up.
Yes.
And she's like spinning around shooting them all. As they do the slow-mo bit at the end, you see one of them fall to the ground and you see its hand fall onto the ground, and you can see like this
big rubbery,
the fingers just like wobbling away.
Love. Actually, while you've mentioned that, so I don't forget, so the silence control room that looks like a bit like a TARDIS in a way, that we saw that in Craig's, that was upstairs in Craig's room in the lodger, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So again, is that a little throwback? Because that was another thing. I remember I quite liked the lodger episode, but I remember thinking, well, what was the upstairs about? So had the silence been up there? And because it doesn't really get specifically explained, does it? It's just kind of like, I've seen one of these before, the Doctor says, and I guess that's a reference to in Craig's room. But
yes, yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a throwaway that, but
a little bit, yeah.
So the silence were in Craig's room.
Is that the lodger?
The lodger, yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, they were, yeah.
Yeah, what's his name? He plays Craig. What's he called?
That guy.
From Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, the guy that's now American. What's his name?
James Corden.
James Corden. There we go.
Yeah.
The silence. I mean, it's another good credit. You got to give Moff some credit for that, because along with the Weeping Angels as well, he's created some pretty scary, pretty
It's just the concept is brilliant as well. I mean, they look great, but this thing of as soon as you turn away, you forget them. Absolutely great
That's
idea.
brilliant, man.
Go on.
He seems to have a knack for that. So with the Weeping Angels, when you don't look at them, something's happening, and it's like the opposite with these, isn't it? Like when you're looking at them, your brain's like, holy crap, there's an alien there and it looks scary, and then you turn away, like the opposite to the Weeping Angels, and then something happens. It's genius, really.
It is brilliant. The only thing is, I'm thinking, so if you're going to mark yourself, every time you see one, you probably wouldn't do your face. That's the only thing I would say. Like, use your arm first.
Use that.
There's bits
first,
where Amy's got marks all over her face. I'm thinking, God, why would you do that? But visually, it looks good, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, great creation, really good idea. I mean, I kept waiting for Amy to find the picture on her phone as well, and she never does she? Because she manages to take a photo of it on her old phone. Well, it would have probably been new then.
Oh,
but
yeah.
She never, because I kept thinking, she was going to open that phone in a minute and say, oh, look, here it is. But I don't think she ever does she?
Not in these stories anyway, I don't think.
No.
It was good. So they're a great creation, and
they are good. Yeah,
and it's. I would like to see them come back, because although we think that their history after the river, just there's obviously more of them, because I think the Doctor alludes to it as well in another future story. He says there's just one line. He says something like, "The silence are still out there, or they're still doing something, or whatever." So they are there. They've not been wiped out completely. So it would be cool to see them come back.
Yeah, no, I'd definitely like to see them. I think they work really, really well. They're creepy as hell.
Yeah, a bit of Jodie action and some silence. That'd be cool.
Should be a good up against them, actually. Yeah, that'd work well.
Yeah.
It's quite grand on scale, this story, isn't it? Like you said about the locations. I mean, right from the get-go, all the stuff in America and the Grand Canyon stuff with Rory. It's had some money spent on it, isn't it? The BBC obviously had quite a lot of faith in the Moffat. He's gone to them with the script, said, look, we need to go and film this, and visually it looks brilliant and direction's really, really good. But the whole story is quite grand when you think about it. The White House and the sets look brilliant. I love even the little bits at the start where the Doctor's in the Lauren Hardy film. A lovely touch that was, trying to get their attention and things like that. So there's so much going on in it. Do you think it gets a bit crowded? Is it a bit like the Moffat's throwing in everything in the kitchen sink, or do you think he gets the balance right? Because I think it just about gets it myself, but there are moments when I think, particularly part 2, I think starts to get, there's quite a lot thrown in, I think. The pregnancy and...
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, Series 6, for me at times feels like it's just too heavy.
Too heavy, yeah.
Because there is the odd standalone story, which is cool. And it only mentions like the story arc really lightly. It doesn't dive into it at all. It might just be like a one-liner or something. But overall, I think, I don't know, he was just really sort of really going for it in terms of like, I really need you guys to just really concentrate on Series 6 as a whole story. If you can do that, then it's going to be great once you get to the end of it. So, so from that perspective, it's like, he threw everything at it. But at the same time, it's like, oh God, it's just, and also as you're watching through Series 6, if you were doing a watch, like a whole Series 6 watch through, there would be times where you thought, I just need something that I don't have to concentrate so hard on to watch,
I think it feels to me like Stephen Moffat was absolutely just brimming with ideas. That's what I get from it. Just Series 6 is just filled with so many ideas. It almost feels like you said, like it sort of crushes a bit under its own weight, where I almost feel like I wish he had taken some of the elements out and kept them for the next series rather than trying to cram everything into Series 6. Because I think that's the thing with Series 5, you get a really nice balance of, the story arc in that. I think works really well. I really like Series 5, whereas this, it does just feel like he's like, you can just imagine just all the stuff coming out of his head. Oh yes, let's get that in, and that's a good idea. And there is some brilliant ideas, but I just think some of the execution is too much, and it would have been great if he could have just spread it out a little bit, because I think he said himself by the time he was writing Twice Upon a Time and some of that, he was sort of like, I'm out of ideas. I really like I haven't got a lot more to give and stuff like that at the moment. I can imagine he was just exhausted at the end of series 6, so like he got everything out of the system and what do I do now, which is why I think when we get to series 10 we get back to the real simple, Stephen Moffat's gone back to just the really simple storytelling that worked so well, I think, for series 10. So I don't know, it just feels like he's getting a lot out of his system in series 6.
Yeah, there's also the fact that he was growing a lot more confident as well. So in the watch-alongs that have been happening over the last couple of months, there was one exchange between him and Russell T Davies where he did say, I got really power hungry at times. I just thought, like, I'm the man, I'm running the show, literally, so I'm just going to just do whatever I want for a while. And if that means that things get a bit convoluted or, whatever, that's fine, because I'm telling you that's what we're doing. So I imagine the guys at the BBC were like, okay, series 5 has done really well. The reception to Matt Smith has been brilliant and everything. This guy knows
America, didn't it? It finally got a decent American audience. Yeah.
And so they were like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Off you go, mate. Go and pretty much do what you want. So yeah, I think at times he might have felt a bit like, should I be doing this? Yeah, sod it. I can do what I want, basically.
Actually, it just reminded me, he's finally left Twitter. I don't know if you saw his tweet.
Shut it down. Yeah.
Oh, he's like, right, it's time to go. I'm like, no, don't leave us, Stephen, don't go. But he's gone. He'll be back. He's got to come back. But yeah, sad to see, because I've loved having him on Twitter again.
It's been great, hasn't it? Yeah, I think that's it now, isn't it, for those watch and tweet alongs? I think that's the last one.
It.
Yeah,
we're all going back to normality again. Yeah, cool. What a crazy few months it's been. What was I going to say about the mothball?
The ball of moth. The moth burger.
The ball of moth. One thing I did love to see as well. I always love it when it's on screen, just because I've been there, and I think you've been there. Is Eddie's Diner?
I've not been there.
Being used. Have you not?
I didn't go there. No.
I thought you had.
No.
I mean, you can't go now because it's sadly shut down. But yeah, it gets some. Obviously, it's supposed. It's in the real location was in Cardiff, but it's supposed to be out in. Is it Utah? They're in
Utah, I think. Yeah.
So I just loved it, because I was like, I remember. Obviously, they're sat at table 11, and when you go there, you have to try and sit at table 11 where they were, and there were people sat here, and I remember sitting there for ages going, oh, when are they going to move so I can get a photo at table 11? So in the end, I had to just go and stand next to them very awkwardly. I've got the most awkward photo of me stood with these 4 strangers sat at that table, just looking at the table, like not, and me stood in front of it, because they've still got the painting that's on the wall above that booth was still there. So it's like it's exactly as it is in the show. But Eddie's Dynamite was great. The Elvis door, all that stuff. It's just because it's been in Doctor a few times. Obviously, it appears in a couple of Capaldi stories, doesn't it? Is it Clara's Diner as well?
She's a waitress, isn't she? In one story.
Yeah. So it's been in it a few times, but yeah, it's great to go in there. So it's lovely to see that on screen again. I want to know who's Jim the Fish. Who is Jim the Fish?
Oh, Jim the Fish.
He gets mentioned a few times.
Yeah.
Another little mystery, another little thrown.
I'm sure there's an answer out there somewhere.
I was thinking as well, watching this again yesterday, the first 10 minutes, it goes bleak pretty quick, doesn't it? So
a little bit.
It starts off great. You got the Doctor, I wear Stetsons now, and it gets shot off of Rivers there, and this is all great fun. And the next thing you know, we've got a Darth Vader moment of the Doctor being burnt on a boat.
Oh, yeah, the Viking burial thing.
Wow, yeah. I'm like, woo. Yeah. We're only 5 or 10 minutes in, and we've like gone from that to that. It takes it. And episode 2 does as well, doesn't it? So you get Amy and Rory are in body bags within the first 5 minutes. Like, blimey, this is dark. And then obviously they're not dead. They're just, it's just a ruse to get them into that brilliant black cube. But we go through the ringer in this a bit at times, I think.
A little bit. I thought that as well. It starts off quite light-hearted. Matt Smith's so great on that open bit. I wear a Stetson now. Stetsons are cool. It's all great. Yeah, but then it goes dark big time. And it kind of, it never really picks up again. in terms of the tone of the story, like that opening bit where it's light and fluffy. There's like funny little bits throughout each of the 2 episodes, but in terms of the mood, it doesn't really pick back up again until this is done, and we're on to Curse of the Black Spot.
Yeah,
that's when it gets a bit more comedic at times and whatnot. But yeah, it does go a bit dark. You're right, quite quick.
What did you think of the actual resolution of the way the Doctor gets rid of the silence, if you like? So he goes and implants their image into the moon landing.
That's
and stuff.
Cool, man. That is so cool.
I'd completely forgotten about that. I thought that was a really good idea. I thought that was a good bit of writing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's another bit of really good writing, actually, because before we get to that bit, there is that question around why is 1969 and being in Florida so important? Why is and then it's like, oh, okay, that was the moon landings. That was when they blasted off from Florida, and you think, okay, that's cool and everything, but why is it? Okay, I guess we'll find out, and you just leave it at that. But then when they use that as a mechanism, like the Doctor puts that transmitter in the Apollo craft, and that's what he kind of can see into the future a little bit. Not timey-wimey, but he can foresee that everybody around the world is going to be watching the Neil Armstrong coming out of the module sort of thing. So he's like, well, if that's like the biggest TV event of the time, then we'll hijack that and use it to transmit the silence, so that everybody's mind just sort of clicks, doesn't it? Everyone's like, I can see him now. It's another like really cool setup from the Moff that you didn't see coming.
No, I didn't see that coming at all.
I didn't at all. No.
That shot of him in the spaceship as well. God, that looked good. I was thinking that, again, coming back to, they must have had some money for this season, because there's like a shot of Matt sat in the capsule, Apollo, whatever it is, and it zooms out all the way out, and I thought, for like I'm assuming CGI, right? I don't know. It looked amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
I was really impressed with like the production values on this, because it's now 9 years old. This story.
Yeah, it would be.
Didn't look it at all. I'll tell you another great scene as well. Another one I thought was brilliant is when Matt's first putting the little things in their hands so they can tap and record a little memory.
Oh yeah.
And then Canton, starts fixing Matt's bow tie, and you're like, what's he doing? And Matt's like, play your thing. And there's a blimmin' silence in the TARDIS. And I thought, that again, I didn't see that coming at all. It's out of nowhere, and it made for a really creepy moment. I loved stuff like that. I kept thinking, again, this comes back to what I'm saying. When Moffat's coming out with good ideas, he really hits the mark with stuff like that, because that came out of nowhere. That was brilliant.
It was great as well, because Canton in that scene's quite confident that this wouldn't happen to him. He's a sharp guy.
Yes, that's right.
And he wouldn't be fooled by such a thing. And then literally within an instant, it's like, your hands flash here, mate, play your thing. And then that was it. The look on his face is just shock and like, oh my God. And it's even more creepy, like you mentioned, that there's one in the TARDIS. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. Another good scene I want to mention, which was really cool, was when River jumps off the building backwards.
Yes, into the TARDIS swimming pool.
Yeah, it was great, because when she jumps off, it cuts away and you think, oh crap, what's going to happen? And then, the Doctor sort of saves her, he opens up the swimming pool and stuff. So that's another great scene. There's quite a few good scenes like that. And it's that when they go to the orphanage as well, all of that stuff's creepy as hell. Like,
oh God, yeah.
Like the old dude that's there still, and he's been manipulated by the silence to just, I don't know, just keep the place running for some reason, whatever. And he's really creepy and stuff. And Amy gets all the marks over her arms and face and stuff. That whole thing was just really well done and creepy.
The girl in the spacesuit as well. There's something very creepy about that, isn't it? When we finally we get this reveal of it's a young girl trapped to the spacesuit as well. And also the scene at the end when, because I again completely forgot about this. So we think the story's wrapped up, and then we get this additional little scene of the girl appearing in an alleyway and talking to a tramp. She's like, I'm dying or something. And he's like, what? She goes, but it's okay because I can do this. And she starts regenerating.
Yeah.
Now, I do remember at the time being like, whoa, what's going on? Who is that girl? Like, so that was another great little moment. Yeah. And I'd forgotten about that until I watched it again last night. I thought, some really good stuff going on in this. Really good stuff.
Really cool.
Is it okay to do the spoiler? Spoilers coming up, guys, if you haven't watched the rest or whatever. So that turns out to be Melody, right?
Yes.
That little girl.
Yep.
Who then turns out to be River. Yeah.
River, that's right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm just checking if my memory, because as I said, it's not a series I go back to very often. Watching this again, I am going to revisit. I'll probably wait till we do it on the podcast, actually, but I kind of want to know how it ties up in the wedding of River Song whenever we get round to watching that. But I'll hold off. I won't watch it until we review it, I don't think.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's wait until... It won't be too long. Well, actually, it won't be till next year when we do it, because we've got our schedule lined up, but...
Yeah.
It'll be good to finally close that out, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking. We've done quite a lot. We've reviewed quite a lot of Series 6, haven't we? So what have we've done? Is that the only one that we haven't done now?
Yeah. After this, A Christmas Carol. If you want to lump that in with Series 6, we haven't done that. But yeah, the only other one officially is The Wedding.
I know a lot of people like that one. I'm not a fan of that one. In fact, I'm not a fan of a lot of the Christmas ones, apart from the RTD. I like the RTD Christmas specials, but once, as much as I've been praising Moffat, once he starts doing the Christmas episodes, I don't think there's many I like, and I remember not really liking Christmas Carol. Yeah. But we'll see. Again, I've only watched it once or maybe twice, so might change my mind. You never know.
Yeah, let's be honest, they are dreadful, mate. The Christmas ones from the Moff.
Oh yeah, there's not many that stick in my mind as good.
Mm-hmm. And they get worse for me as well. Just we've reviewed all the Christmas ones from what was the last one they did?
Have we reviewed all the Moffat ones apart from Christmas Carol and Time of the Doctor?
We've done The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe.
Oh,
we've done that. We haven't done The Snowmen.
Oh right. Oh, actually, now that one I remember not minding. Yeah.
The Great Intelligence, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Richard E. Grant.
Yeah. So
I remember thinking that was all right, that one.
Yeah, so we've not reviewed that one, but we have done like Last Christmas, like from the Capaldi onwards.
Yeah.
Like Last Christmas and Twice Upon a Time and what was the other one? Oh, The Return of Dr. Mysterio. They're all bloody awful.
Oh, Mysterio.
Crikey.
Yeah. Oh, man. Remember you didn't like that one at all. No. And then I think back to the great one. I mean, I do love like Christmas Invasion. You know, the first Tennant one with the cigarettes. I love that one. And I like the Donna one as well.
Runaway Bride. That was
Runaway
good.
Runaway Bride. Yeah. I like that one. So I do like the RTD ones. But yeah, Moffat, sorry, as much as I've been praising you, now we've got onto your Christmas specials. They're
watch
a bit
out.
Hit and miss. Yeah, watch out.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the two-parter. What do you reckon to Nixon? What do you reckon to who played him? I thought he was all right, actually.
Yeah, Stuart Milligan. Not too bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. I don't really have many comparisons to actors who have played Nixon, so I can't really compare. But not too bad, actually.
There's a nice moment when he says to the Doctor, "Will I be remembered?" at the end, which is quite poignant.
That's quite cool. Yeah,
and and there's this thing about the Canton's wedding as well, which gets a bit of a raised eyebrow at the end as well, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Because at first, that's I'm glad that they explain that because.
Yeah,
it does seem ridiculous when he mentions it early on that they kicked him out of the FBI just because he wanted to get married. Where you think, well, what's the problem with that? What? You know, what's the problem? So I'm glad that they explained that away. Not that it needed explaining really, and in light of what was going on in the rest of the story, it's but it does raise an eyebrow, but it's kind of cool for its time.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a decent Stuart Milligan, the actor. Yeah, I thought he was a good choice for Nixon. I think he has to sort of deliver the kind of performance which is somewhere between serious and he has a little bit of comedy stuff to do. Like when he comes out the cube at the end, it is good. Part 2, sorry. He steps out and they're like, "How did you get in there in that cube?" That's another great idea, isn't it?
The cube.
They've built this black cube that is impenetrable. Mm-hmm. No one can get in and out of, and then Canton comes out 4 days later and they're like, "What the hell have you been doing in there?" Obviously they've got the TARDIS in there. That was another great idea.
It's cool that it's in Area 51 as well. That's cool.
That hangar looked good, didn't it? I was wondering, I know it's not, but my first thoughts were, is that the Doctor Who experience when it's being built? Because it had that sort of shape to it, but it's not. I know it's a totally different shape, but it was a good location anyway, that hangar.
It was.
Yeah.
It looked cool. I really like that prison as well with how the cubes sort of fused together when they put it building it and stuff. It looks really cool.
Yeah, Matt with a beard.
Matt with a beard. Yeah. What did you think to the guy playing Canton? So Mark Sheppard, who's playing the young Canton Everett. As a character and as Mark Sheppard, what do you reckon to that?
Yeah, no, I thought he was all right actually. He was good, better than I remember. Because obviously, like, I find that whole scene strange at the beginning because you're thinking we don't know at this point quite what's going on. So we're like, why has the Doctor invited them to his own death? Why would the Doctor do that? But the Doctor isn't the one who sent out the notes, is he? This is another thing that we haven't got answered yet, isn't it? Who sent the blimmin' invitations in TARDIS Blue? Mm-hmm. Is it the Doctor? Can't remember. It's not, is it? I don't think it is.
I think it is, isn't it?
Is it?
It might not be then. I don't know.
I got a bit lost. Maybe it is. I thought it was someone else later down the line, but I don't know. But yeah, no, going back to Canton, yeah, I mean, the old guy as well is quite a good... I can believe it's the same person. I think there's a sort of similarity in the face and stuff. So I thought both of the Cantons were good.
Yeah, and it's also weird that, the old Canton that appears on the beach at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's weird that he doesn't seem upset or fazed in any way.
No, he doesn't, does he?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously find out later that he's privy to it, or he knows that, it's not the Doctor really and stuff.
He could have told him. He could have just said, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So we find out that it was the Doctor that delivered the envelopes, but it wasn't actually him. It was the Tesselector. He got them to deliver
okay.
the envelope. So he kind of the Doctor doing it, but...
Lime him off it.
Yeah. I imagine that the Mothball, when he was writing this stuff, when you see those crime shows, films or TV series, and in the investigation room, they've got like a central photo, and then there's like hundreds of like pieces of string everywhere,
lines, and yeah.
I imagine it in his office. He had one of those things going up on the wall where he's like, right, that connects to that, and that does that. You must have like visualized it somehow.
Yeah,
you can't have just winged it. Like, I'll just wing it.
No, you're right. Oh, I love that. I love that image. I bet he did.
Yeah. And then he burnt it when they kicked him out. He just went home and set fire to everything.
Well, he thought he'd gone, didn't he? He's like, thought it was all wrapped up. Right, I've done my bit. I'm off now to pastures new. And they're like, oh, actually, Stephen, Chris doesn't want to write the Christmas special, so could you just change the ending and do one more? Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you just come back and write one more? On the Wikipedia page, it's got a great picture of the silence when they were hanging from the ceiling, which has just reminded me how brilliant that was as well, because they make this strange sound as well, don't they, which is really unnerving.
Clicking
sound, yeah. But yeah, when they were all hanging from the ceiling as well, and Amy is in that room, that was creepy. I mean, that would freak you out as a kid, wouldn't it? But that's the sort of thing you'd love as a kid as well, wouldn't you? You just, like, if I was watching this as a younger guy, I would have been loving that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like back in the day.
The prosthetics look really good as well. I remember the first time I went to the Doctor Who experience, because they've got the once you go upstairs and you go to the whole bit where they've got all the sets and props and everything, one of the first things you see is that big silence area with the pods. So it looks a bit like a TARDIS console.
I remember. Yeah,
and the full size models they've got, they were done really well. I remember thinking, crikey, they actually look pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Up close, yeah, they did look really good.
I think I remember you posted some good photos of that. You'll have to try and dig them out.
Yeah, the old experience.
It's like close up of the. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, they were good. Okay, dude. I think we've gone on quite a bit. Is there anything else you want to?
No, I just wondered what you thought of Murray's music, because I thought it was quite good in this. It's a bit different. I think sometimes Murray, I wouldn't say sounded stale, but he sometimes would use this. He felt like he was a bit going through the motions, but I think his music in this is a little bit different. I wouldn't say it's my favourite sort of music, when I'm listening to the soundtrack or whatever, but he has mixed it up a little bit. So I thought Murray's music was good in this as well. Quite, again, very creepy in places. I think I get the feeling he loves it when he gets to do those sort of creepy like moments. But yeah, so I thought Murray's music was good in this one as well.
Yeah, and we didn't have too much of the I Am the Doctor theme as well.
No, we didn't. Good. No, he's toned that down a bit, hasn't he?
However much I loved that track, it did get overplayed a bit in Series 5.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my notes. I think we've pretty much covered it. I've written the Doctor's age down for some reason. That's a nice idea. The fact it's the older Doctor as well, because that's going to keep you guessing. Like, well, so what's going to happen between that? So he's 908 at the start and 1103 when he gets shot and burnt. They don't. I know it's a silly thing, but they could have made him look a bit different. Like, I suppose that's the whole point. But he's even wearing the same jacket, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, then I guess he would be. I love that when he steps out and they're all like, just steps out of the toilet and they're like, what the? They think he's dead. Yeah. That was a great moment as well, because he's clueless, isn't he? He's like, why are you all looking at me like that?
Well, that's when it gets really tight. That's the first bit where you think, right, we're in for timey-wimey stuff, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It says on Wikipedia that Matt, when River slaps him, she had to do that take a few times. And apparently Matt was getting a bit annoyed after the 10th take. I don't blame him because apparently she really had to slap him. But yeah, I'm not surprised. Poor old Matt.
He might have annoyed the director on that day.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we just need another one.
Yeah, one more for the sound department, just to really. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So go on.
I was going to say, I think we could probably talk about the whole the longer arc for Series 6 and all that stuff for hours, but I think it's me to go first for scores, anyways.
Alrighty, yep.
So I think just for this two-parter and this particular story, I'm going to go with an 8 because I think it's a solid watch, really enjoyable. I might have scored it higher if there wasn't so much going on that just smacked you in the face immediately, and you thought, "Crikey, I don't know what's going on." It is a little bit confusing at times, so you've really got to concentrate. It's one of those stories where if you have to pause it if you're going to go and do something. If you're going to go make a brew, answer the door. If you do that even just for a minute and you come back, you're gone. It's game over. So but it's a really enjoyable watch. Looks fantastic. The performances were really just brilliant pretty much throughout. So yeah, a solid, enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I rated part 1 8 and I rated part 2 7.5. It just wasn't as good for me, but I'm going to give it an 8 overall as a two-parter because I agree with you. I really enjoyed watching this. I'm very glad that to revisit this one because it's definitely gone up in my opinion. Sorry. Yeah, it was a good watch, and I think the thing that really struck me about it was the cast. The cast works so well together in the story. Amy, Rory, River, the Doctor, even Canton. You've got quite a big TARDIS team when they're all together for a big chunk of this story. They all work very well together. The humour, the drama, the action, the quieter moments. It's all spot on. So yeah, it makes for an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8 overall.
Yes, no, I completely agree with you, dude. And I know that you and I sometimes, when we talk about Series 6, we're generally like, oh God, Series 6, that's coming up. But yeah, I think it has been great to go back and watch this one because initially I thought, oh God, Series 6 is just going to be, here we go, like massive, like, mothball sized story plots that you have to really concentrate on, and you can't really appreciate certain things without having to go through the whole series and all that stuff. However, I think if you ask me without me rewatching it for the review, if you just casually said, Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon, give us your quick score, I probably would have given you like a 6 or a 6.5. But no, after rewatching it and just seeing how brilliant Matt was and all those peeps, yeah, it's good stuff. As always, we had our awesome listeners come through with some great reviews. We got got half a dozen audio clips to get through. So first up, that cheeky chap, it is Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Gary and Adam of the Big Blue Box podcast. Sorry I've been away for a few weeks. Doing the reviews have slipped my mind and I just forgot to do them. So Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon, the Series 6 opener. It's very good. I think it's one of the more stronger openers of the show, actually. It's really hard to condense down into a minute, but I'll try. The silents are really cool. I really love that stuff with them as well, and the idea of them and that concept's really good. I think Moffat really did well. I like the fact how it sets up the Series 6 story out quite well with seeing the future Doctor die and you're kind of unravelling the story as it goes along. I like how it kind of sets that tone up, although Wedding River Song kind of, but the setup's good. I like Canton Delaware III as a character. I liked the finale with "You should kill us all on sight" and that idea of television and how they're influences. So, them hearing that, it's a very smart twist. I think the companions are good. I like the weird drawing. I like the horror aspects when they go into that children's home. It all works well. I guess 8 out of 10. It's very strong. Not many problems with it. Just kind of, I don't really care for the whole child thing, and besides, it's not really a massive part of the plot. They sort of just get rid of her and then bring her back at the end. But apart from that, it's a solid opener by far. Not the best of them on there, but certainly not the worst. 8 out of 10. See you guys next week. All the best. Stay safe, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the rest of the show. Bye-bye.
And 8, same as us.
Alex rocking the 8. It's funny though, the little girls they brought her back and then got rid of her. Thank you very much, Alex. It is a good opening 2-part review of you there, buddy. Moving on, this is Joe Turner.
Hello, Gary and Adam at the Big Blue Box podcast. Joe Turner here for my first audio review. Before I start, I would like to say how much I love these podcasts. They helped me through my work during lockdown, and they're so great. Honestly, your commitment, your dedication and work ethic is top notch, and the content is brilliant. But anyway, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. This is for me one of the best New Who episodes. I love the locations, especially that gorgeous lake in America. It's scary when you're in that orphanage with Amy when she's lurking around with Canton. There's great action, you get a great sense of scale for all the different locations, and your humour gets me every time. For example, it's a police box, can't you read? And Mr. President. All in all, I give this 9 out of 10, knocking off a point for Amy calling the doctor when she is captured and insisting that her saying her life was boring before he dropped out of the sky was a figure of speech, and that she was actually talking about Rory. Come on, Amy, we're not that silly. All in all, I love this episode, and I think the Moffser did a really good job. It's just a shame that the mystery didn't really pay off in Series 6. Thank you, guys.
Joe, a newbie.
Oh, I love a newbie.
Love a newbie. I recognise your name, Joe, which is why I didn't label you as a newbie, a new timer for the audio review. So Joe Turner with the newbie audio review. Welcome aboard, Joe.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yes, that was really kind of you. Thank you so much for that. I'm glad we're providing some sort of like an easier way to get through your day. All good. Thank you very much. Moving on, the regular reviewer from Down Under, Sammy Slitheen.
Hey Gary and Adam, Sammy Slitheen here. So, The Impossible Astronaut and the Day of the Moon. I really enjoy this story. Also, I went and sat in that diner at that table. Such a real shame it's no longer there. It was a nice diner. Stuart Milligan as President Richard Nixon. I first saw Stuart in Jonathan Creek as Adam Klaus, so I always see him as a magician. It's a great setup, this. Such a shame that this whole setup is to fall apart later. Everyone in it is good. I've been more fascinated to try and watch River's timeline in her order rather than the Doctor's order. It'd be interesting. I give it 8 astronauts out of 10. Stay safe, wash your hands. See ya.
An 8. Another one.
8, yeah. Is there somewhere online, I'm sure there must be, somebody must have done a thing of River's timeline so we can actually watch her in order, or watch the Doctor in order, or
yeah,
I don't know.
so.
Somebody must have worked it all out, because I can never work it out.
Yeah, I think over at the TARDIS wiki, so tardis.fandom.com.
All right, yeah.
If you go over there and just do a search for River song, they've got a section where I think it's appearances, and it will tell you which ones, I think anyway, over on the wiki, the TARDIS wiki. But yeah, I'm sure there's other websites that have done it too. But yeah, old River. But thank you very much, Sammy. Another 8.
Thanks, Sammy.
Yep. Moving on. This is Seb Lane.
Hi, Gary and Adam. Hope you're well. Sorry about my voice. I'm recording this about midnight, so yep, don't ask why. Anyway, the Series 6 opener, I really enjoyed it. I remember watching this when it first came out, and I enjoyed it a lot. I'm really not a fan of River. Actually, I'd probably go as far as to say I detest River. But, I mean, she's the only thing in the story that lets it down. I love it. It's very Moffat, isn't it? The silence, it's such a great concept. The Doctor's on top form. Amy and Rory are on top form. And I just like the feel of it. And it's got a really nice atmosphere. So I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. Stay safe.
Detest. That's a harsh word.
Detests it. Blimey.
Detest.
A 7.5 though, not a bad score again.
No, that's good. Yeah, another good score. Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate you going stealth mode, Seb, at midnight, getting the review in. Very cool. Next up, Craig Bryce.
Hi guys, hope you're both well. So, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. What do I think of this two-parter? Well, firstly, I think it's a good idea, opening a brand new series of Doctor Who with a two-parter. I think it's a good way of, starting a series off with a bang. I really do like this story. I don't find the storyline confusing. However, it does start to get a bit more convoluted as Series 6 progresses, like with Let's Kill Hitler and then into The Wedding River Song. But I did think it started off well with this. It's a really intriguing story. I think the casting are brilliant. I think Matt Smith is an absolutely fantastic Doctor, and I think he's brilliant in this story. I love the silence. If one thing Stephen Moffat always does right, it is monsters. He can't deny it. He's got such a great imagination when it comes to his villains, and the silence is up there with the Weeping Angels for me. No real weak points to this story apart from River Song. She does get a bit annoying from time to time, but I don't mind her that much. All in all, this two-parter, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. A good start to Series 6. Cheers, guys. Speak to you next week. Bye.
Another 8.
Another one. And you are correct. Absolutely about the Moff. He is good at monsters.
Yes, he is, yeah.
We've had some belters from him, so... Yes, thank you very much, Craig. Another 8, another high score. Penultimate one, George Puddy.
So yes, The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon. Now, Series 5 is my favourite series of the new series, and I personally like Series 6 more than most, but I think you can definitely see the momentum of Series 5 going into this opener. You can see why it became popular in America, because this is the first time that Doctors really had a big budget, and it feels so epic, all these sweeping locations. I love them weaving in the 1969 moon landing into this story, and it works really well. You see, this is a Moffat script that has a lot to do. It's got to set up the series arc, have it in America, introduce the silence, weave in the 1969 moon landing, and it does it all seamlessly. I think it's really good. The guest cast is really great. I like Canton and Nixon. River works really well as a fourth companion. Amy and Rory work really well too. Great companions in this. Matt Smith is excellent in this story, and he essentially plays two Doctors, because obviously it sets up the Doctor dying thing, which despite that story arc does get a bit iffy throughout the series. It's really well set up here, and Matt Smith is excellent, and I really like the silence as well. They look really creepy for one, but the idea behind them is really brilliant, and I like the scene where you go into the children's home and the guy running it has lost years of his life to the silence. That is really quite creepy, as a great resolution, and overall I just really like this story, to be honest, and I think it needs a bit more love. It's quite underrated in my opinion, and it's one of my favourite Matt Smith stories, so I'll give The Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon a 9 out of 10. I just really enjoy this one, and I do think it gets a bit overlooked because it's in Series 6. But no, it's really good. But yeah, see you guys next week.
Crikey.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. I mean, I think I've overlooked this one because it's in Series 6. I'd agree with that. It's not one I would ever reach for to watch until now. Now I've rewatched it. It's definitely gone up in my opinion. So, and that is purely because of Series 6. I just never gravitate towards it. So, yeah,
same.
I agree.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention in our review, George mentioned about this doing well in America from this series on.
Yeah.
Because of the budget and stuff. But I watched this on Netflix because I was too lazy to walk a few meters and get the Blu-ray. But I noticed that they did that thing that they did for the American audiences that we didn't have on the DVDs or Blu-rays here, but they have included it in Netflix. And at the beginning, we have we have Amy doing this sort of narrative intro, where she's like, when I was younger, a madman with a box. Did you? No, you've seen this?
So what's that? So what is it? A different version on the?
Yeah, it's like a slightly different intro where before we kick off with the main titles with the TARDIS flying through and the music and stuff, we have Amy. You know, like what they did with the Sarah Jane Adventures with Clyde. This is Bannerman Road. They did like a similar thing for the American audience.
I didn't know that.
With Amy. So if you watch the Netflix version, it's on there, which is kind of interesting.
No, I didn't know. Totally didn't know that. I'll have to have a look.
It's like a typical American thing where they like set up the story for like the gist of the show in 30 seconds with somebody like a cast member narrating what's going on. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Oh, I love it. No, I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you, George. Very, very cool. Glad you like that one. And lastly, Matt Steele.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Matt Steele here again. Hope you guys are well and having a good week. So this week, The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon. Yeah, it's great to see Ed Steiner at the start. I'm sure I'm not the only one who went in there and sat in the same spot as they did. The Silents are a fantastically scary villain, I thought. It's an incredibly morbid start to episode 2, mind, with Amy and Rory being shot and put in body bags. The CGI when River dives into the TARDIS doesn't really hold up that well, but it's great to see Mark Sheppard as Canton in this. He's better known for his role as Crowley in Supernatural. This story shows a real step up in the budget for the show, going to America, Kennedy Space Center, etc. It's a really clever idea putting the video message in the Apollo 11 footage, as you'll never know if it's really there. I must admit, I don't often go back and watch many from Series 6. However, watching this two-parter again after a few years has really changed my opinion. I really enjoyed this story. I give this two-parter 8 stupid faces out of 10. Cheers, guys. I'll see you again.
Another 8.
Another 8. Yes, indeed. Yes.
Crikey. That seems to be a real common thing. And we've experienced it so many times on this show where your initial viewing of something kind of sticks in your mind. And it's not until years later, maybe decades later, you've gone back and watched it again and you think, actually, not actually that bad. It's a pretty decent story. So I think time definitely has an effect, not just Doctor Who, but anything, but certainly with certain episodes of Doctor Who. Definitely has an effect on your enjoyment, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
I was just looking at the wiki page. There's a picture of Matt arriving on set in Utah. He's such a dude, isn't he?
He is a dude, actually.
You see, he's just stepping out of the the cast van onto the desert or wherever they filmed.
Yeah.
Just looks an absolute dude.
Yeah, he's cool, actually.
I love Matt.
Yeah, no, he's cool. Yeah. They also dedicated this story to Liz Sladen, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah, which is another really nice touch.
Nice little touch. Yeah.
Just going back to what you're saying, I think that's absolutely true. I think it's really nice to hear positive comments for this one because when we put it on the schedule, I did think, I wonder how this is going to go down. Like, wasn't sure if it was gonna have aged very well. But if anything, it's better, isn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, thank you very much as always. The guys that sent in the audio clips, really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and some of you recording very late at night for whatever reason. So
stealth mode.
So thank you so much for that. We really love hearing your thoughts and opinions. So thank you for that. Over on the socials, we had a few over there. I'm going to breeze through some of these over on Twitter. The Universe of Who said an absolute banger. The first part in particular is intense, scary, clever, and the Doctor getting shot was a huge shock. While I don't like the second part as much, it's incredibly atmospheric. The Silents are among the best villains of New Who. Brilliant. Matt Holmes, setup was the most intriguing mysteries in Doctor Who, although often terrifying. The Silents are a brilliant concept. It also has its funny moments, especially in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Dan Peters, still find this story pretty confusing. This is Moffat at his most Moffat-y. However, I still really enjoy it. This is a blockbuster of an adventure with an excellent TARDIS team. Gives it an 8 out of 10. Caitlin Dalek 100, a banger of a start to Series 6 and one of my fave Matt Smith stories. 11 and Amy are a highlight for sure, and the beginning to the astronaut arc is very intriguing to say the least. She gives it an 8.5. Sam at Dooley011 says pretty much everything about this story clicks. I love the Doctor, the music, the companions, the mystery, the cinematography and direction alongside the excellent writing. It's only knocked down slightly by a lackluster finale.
Yeah.
Series finale, but otherwise I love both episodes. 9.5. John Griffith says nearly didn't rewatch because of River. Because of River, yeah. But
slack.
Likes Matt in a Hat, Canton Nixon, Jammy Dodgers, Silent Spacesuit Locations, Dwarf Star Alloy Jail, Children's Home, Nano Hand Recorders, Time Heads. Dislikes River shooting, River kissing the Doctor.
Actually, I thought that the kiss was going to annoy me, but it didn't actually. I think because of the way that Matt's all awkward. It's not like the Amy kiss that really in Series 5.
That is orcs.
Hate that Amy kiss, but this one didn't bother me too much.
No. And John gave this a 9. Dan Fox, absolutely bloody brilliant. My favourite Series 6 story. Really shows what a talented writer Moffat is. Impressive budget makes every moment feel like an intense movie scene, and the Silents are chillingly sinister from the first moment. 9 out of 10.
9, okay.
Lost on Gallifrey podcast. What a fabulous, crazy two-parter. The silence are brilliant creations and the resolution is kick-assingly brilliant. Beardy, Matt and the gang are all on top form, and why the spaceship from the Lodger was abandoned is finally explained.
Yes.
Yeah, cracker from them off, 9 out of 10. Jordan Shortman, one of our writers, says, good story. The silence were great monsters, though I'm still a little confused with the whole Series 6. For me, it was the last great 11th Doctor story.
Okay.
Coach Brian says, just brilliant. I like how the Doctor becomes the only one who doesn't know what's going on. Love Canton, the silence, the Dr. Rory discussion, and the little girl at the end regenerates. Excellent as a rewatch. 10 out of 10.
10, wow, okay.
Edward Galuli, quite confusing, but the silence are superb. A 7 out of 10. Brian Chapman, this two-parter was funny, riveting, and had plenty of scares. The Impossible Astronaut gives it a 9.5. Day of the Moon, 8.5. Which gives a great pair of episodes, a 9 for both of them. Another high score. Sarah Louise, a running Whovian. Doctor Who at its best, a fab storyline which I struggled to make sense of when it first aired, but kept me intrigued nonetheless. The silence were terrifying, the Oval Office was comedic, the TARDIS team were great, and Matt Smith was, as ever, amazing. A 10 out of 10.
10, okay, cheers, sir.
And Floppy Lion.
Floppy Lion, hello.
Real Floppy Lion just said, she just pointed at Sarah's tweet and said this. So she agrees with Sarah and said, plus it originally aired on my 40th birthday, so I have fond memories of it.
Cool.
Which is nice. And then we had a few over on Facebook. Who did we have over here? Callum MacArthur. I do love the two-part, a great way to open up the series, an 8 out of 10. David Carlin, one of the strongest series openers. It was bold, gripping, at some points confusing. As per with most Moffat two-parters, I feel like this one is stronger than the second. Silence are in top 3 creations from the Moffat after The Weeping Angels and River. Gives it a 9 out of 10. Dean Jones, a solid start to Series 6. Matt is fantastic, as ever. Solid laughs, a good plot, an 8 out of 10. Pete Adamson, not a fan of this one when it was first broadcast, but it's grown a lot. Love it. The start of a possible regen is so exciting. 8 out of 10. Charlie Turner, pretty good opener, minus its flaws, to my least favourite New Who series, even if it was made totally pointless by the end of it. It gives it a 7 out of 10. Toby Coleman, a huge nostalgia trip for me. Love the opening where the Doctor dies and returns in Clara's diner. An 8 out of 10. Miles Mackenzie, love it. The scale was amazing for a series opener, had some great sequences, and the silence was super creepy. An 8 out of 10. Millie Mackenzie says, love it, love it, love it. This is the Moth on fire. Crazy, quirky, funny, bizarre, confusing, thrilling, clever, ambitious, and the silence are creepy as hell. She gives it a 10 out of 10. Wow. And lastly, Joseph Howarth, this is a great two-parter. I do like the idea of the silence. The stuff with Amy was creepy. It is ruined later on by the finale, but it's good enough to be a standalone story. An 8 out of 10.
Sweet.
Now, those reviews over on Facebook, they're actually quite long because obviously Facebook's the place to do that. So if you want to read our other people's reviews, then head over to the page and check that out. But thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to send us in your thoughts. We knew this one would be popular, but I didn't expect the whole not quite fond of it when it aired, but now it's grown on me and now it's a banger. I didn't expect as much of that. So, interesting stuff as always from you lot.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Crikey, got through that lot. So that's that done. Next week, what are we on to next week, bud?
Yeah, so next week we're finishing up Series 3 of the Sarah Jane Adventures with the story that's called The Gift.
The Gift.
The Gift. So we're getting to the end of Series 3 of Sarah Jane. I must admit, this is the first Sarah Jane we've done in quite a few weeks now, isn't it? Because of
2 months.
Series 12. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting another Sarah Jane watched.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great, mates. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. The Gift from SJA next week.
Do you think it'll be like a big series final, or is it just going to be I don't know? Because it's not one I've heard much about. Like Series 4 kicks off with The Nightmare Man, which I know people rave about, but The Gift, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything about it, so yeah, going in cold with this one, but looking forward to it.
Who knows?
Who
Indeedy.
knows?
Right, I think we'll wrap there, bud, for 271. 271. I think we'll wrap there, dude, for 271. Thank you so much for listening to us for another week. It's been great to have you all on board as we've spoken through all of the stuff to do with Doctor Who. To newbies who have just jumped in the TARDIS, welcome aboard if this is your first week with us or first couple of weeks. It's great to have you here. Long-time listeners, the old grizzled ancients, good to have you back as well. Thank you so much for all your reviews and audio clips. Very much appreciated as always. Next week, as Adam said, it's The Gift from the Sarah Jane Adventures. So get your DVDs out for that and give that a watch, because we'll be asking for your thoughts and opinions as always. Until then, head over to our website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our previous shows on there. Plus, you can link off to the various podcast apps and networks. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. Make sure you subscribe. That way you won't miss a show when they land every single Friday. And if you've got a minute to leave a rating and a review, that would be awesome, because that really helps us out loads and loads. And to all of you that have given us a review and a rating so far, thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. We're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Links are on the website, or give a search on there, give us a like and a follow. We chat plenty of Doctor Who during the week, and we have a free Discord server. The link's on the website. Come and join that, come and hang out and chat lots of Doctor Who. Loads of subjects that have been discussed over there recently. Big Finish, classic Doctor Who. People posting photos of their collections and stuff. It's all good stuff. Come and hang out and do that. And Adam's on there now as well, so what other reason do you need?
Don't let that put you off.
Yes, indeedy. Also, talking of Adam, make sure you go and check out his YouTube channel, The Geek Sandbag.
Yes, go and have a look at all the vids.
The old Geek Sandbag. Grab yourself a cuppa or a cold drink, depending on the weather. Go and settle in and check out loads of Adam's videos. Loads of cool stuff over there. And Adam is on the socials too, under the same name, The Geek's Handbag, Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Go and check him out on there. And go and interact. Like I said, we go and chat plenty of Doctor Who throughout the week. And yes, just very quickly, those of you that have ordered Big Finish, don't worry, your stuff is on the way. The warehouse is now open, and you should be getting your stuff soon. So until next week, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember,